All right. So first of all, as usual, I welcome you to this discussion, and thank you for being here. This discussion is basically open to all. There's no GD or there's no point in keeping it such because there's so less participants. So anybody has any views on the topic? The topic today is EIA 2020. Uh, EIA 2020 is good for us. Is that true or false? So that's the topic. But any views on EIA 2020 are welcome. So yeah, Abhishek was saying something before we started recording. So Abhishek, please.
Hello. I want to first of all say that EIA draft is not good for us, at least not good for the environment and our future because of many reasons. First of all, this environmental uh, impact assessment, we had this draft which was having certain rules regarding protection of the environment, especially hilly areas, etc. But now the draft has actually given a full scale permission for certain people to exploit the nature. One of the main thing is that now environment clearance certificate is not required for any industry while starting up. Usually every industry required to have an environmental clearance certificate. The people will go there, the bureaucrats, they will inspect, and only if all the factors are much less dangerous to the environment, they will give that certificate. Only with that certificate can that industry start. And nowadays itself, usually the people with power and influence can bribe or take that certificate even after violating a lot of norms. So actually they should have make it more stricter laws. But here now in this draft, uh, no such permission is no such environment clearance certificate is required. So one of the main important thing is that in 1984, the Bhopal gas tragedy happened. So that plant did not have this environmental clearance certificate. So it is at that time, I think, such a everyone started to questioning these things. And now recently there was a leakage in Visakhapatnam. That company does not have an environment clearance certificate. So it is very harmful. And what they're telling is that after setting up the company, in any time you can make that clearance certificate. So this actually is like giving free hand to the people. Another thing is like there was 20,000 square feet is the area in which if you set up an industry, in any industry above 20,000 square feet area, you needed another environment notification. Now they have increased that to 150,000 square feet, which is approximately like the size of an airport. So at such big industry set up without any clear checking, etc. And then there is one provision like you have to gather a public meeting and to notify there are no problems within 30 days. 30 days itself is less. It actually should have been increased, but they decreased it to 20 days. And the rule was that it should be discussed with the people, physically. But now they have made virtual meetings are also possible. So imagine most of the industries or such plants, quarry, etc., are set up in hilly region, forest regions, or tribal regions, etc. They may not be even notified of such a thing happening within 20 days, and they will be completely unaware of this Zoom meeting, etc. So it's actually like killing a opportunity of a discussion. So this in all the ways gives full power or free hand to exploit the nature. So that's why I propose this EIA draft. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your views, Abhishek. Before we go forward, I think it's important for us to know what exactly is an EIA. So I'm just reading this off the internet. I don't know who it will help, but it will definitely increase the knowledge of all. So here goes. What is an EIA? An EIA is an important process for evaluating the likely environmental impact of a proposed project. It makes a scientific estimate of the likely impacts of a project, such as a mine, irrigation, dam, industrial unit, or waste treatment plant. It is a process whereby people's views are taken into consideration for granting the final approval to any developmental project or activity. It is basically a decision making tool to decide whether the project should be approved or not from an environmental standpoint. The draft notification, which is issued under the powers vested in the central government under the Environmental Protection Act 1986, to take all such measures for protecting and improving the quality of the environment. According to the government, the new notification is being brought in order to make the process A, more transparent, and B, expedient by the implementation of an online system. Further delegation, rationalization, and standardization of the process will also improve it further to it being an online system now. However, the environmentalists strictly feel that the draft will further dilute the EIA process. So that's just what I got of the internet, what I read of it. It's only a brief of what the EIA is and what the changes are. So if anybody else
Yeah.
has anything to say, please.
Yeah, I'd like to add my point to this. Thank you, Abhishek, for giving us the insight of this, and thanks, Karthik, for reading it out for us. So basically, reading about EIA, the Environment Impact Assessment, it should be something which benefits the environment. But as Abhishek pointed out, it is actually more of detroiting the environment. The main reason is the work which actually impacts the environment the most, which are the mines and the other project, they are exempted from EIA. So it doesn't make sense to exclude these major things and include the minor things. We are not putting it just for namesake. We actually need something beneficial out of it. So from that sense, it doesn't. From that point of view, it doesn't make any sense. And since I didn't knew about it, I was reading it on the internet. So there are definitely a lot of negative things and a lot of negative comments about it. So again, the public, the whole of the public of India, they are also against it. Let's see what happens. And there were many petitions they were signing. There were campaigns going on to complain about it. I guess that deadlines have been done already, finished, but let's see what further course of action happens.
I'm really actually like I would say that this is a really false idea with respect to the government in a country like in a third world country like India. If we are not concentrating on our environment, then it's like really a big issue. For example, if we go with the Germany, they're actually moving on to the green, like really low carbon emissions. They're actually moving on to the use of like they are actually moving from coal to solar energy. They are actually moving to electricity, most of the electricity power, so that they can actually energize their cars and every single component with renewable resources, not with the resources that are actually depleting in our environment. And I would say like this whole draft is actually being tailored to just ease the business, like ease business of India. And this is not a good idea because as we say, like it was also introduced, like it was first introduced in 2006 in India. And during that time now, so the clearing time for or like giving an idea, a thought about like is it a good idea or not, the government actually gave us around 30 days. But now they're actually reducing it to 20 days, and it is a really bad idea for that. Because if you are thinking about opening a mining project, or like opening a toxic environment or toxic industry, or like a defense headquarters, or some kind of a pharmaceutical industries, these are the type of industry that are actually mostly included with really toxic chemical emissions. And I would say that from the people's perspective, it takes time to think about all these issues. Like it takes time to assess all the problems that will be emitting down in the future. So yeah, like this is not a good idea from the government draft. And I would say like when it was like introduced in the when it was introduced in the news in 2003 in 23rd on 23rd March, and it was just the one day before the lockdown went again, like when lockdown started. And I would say like people were not having any idea. They don't have any idea to know, like Abhishek was saying that people don't have any resources kind of a thing to do, actually discuss it with the government or discuss with other people so that they can actually look over the matter. This is like a really bad time to launch this draft, and actually doing in this way, it is a really bad idea from the government. And this actually shows how government think about the environment.
Good points, Akash.
Anybody else?
I think we have pretty much seen like what's the main points that are actually causing this entire AI 2020 draft to seem backward to the environment. But and I would actually like to just continue with that. If we look at the LG Polymers gas leak, which happened in the recent past, um, following such an incident, which, like Abhishek said, it had no clearance, it didn't have an environmental clearance. Having that follow up with a draft like this, where basically our environment is more exposed, there's lesser time for reaction, there's more freedom for industries to exploit the system. I don't really understand the direction in which the government is thinking go with something like this. And number two, highlighting on the fact that the I believe that I read that the public will not be allowed to come in between and point out any violations. The violations have to be pointed out either by the the organization that is actually working on the project, or a regulatory authority, or the government. So this kind of feels like, if somebody is making a crime, they themselves have to come and tell, dude, the crime is happening. So I feel like that is very redundant, or like it's pointless. I feel like a lot of stones can go unturned if things like this happen. And again, that the public hearing duration has been reduced, so this will again allow for a lot of I'd say like a lot of leverage for people who want to exploit the system, and the public will have lesser time to react to it. Like I've already heard that there are situations where basically people are not notified about these things, or they have played around and got their own people to actually sit for these sort of hearings. And with the duration for actually having these hearings reduced, I think it's very bad for the public and for the environment. I think that's my points.
Sandeep, agreed to it.
Great points by all, but let me just, I don't know who this will help, or I'm not, I'm not contradicting to anybody's points here, but I'm just reading out what I found from my research. And what are the problems in EIA 2020 that is leading to the outcry? I'm just reading that out. So I think it will help every one of us in just, summing up our points, or let's say sorting out our points. So here goes. In effect, the draft proposes the removal of several activities from the purview of public consultation. One of the main causes of concern is that the draft has exempted almost 40 different projects such as clay, sand extraction, digging wells, foundations of buildings, solar thermal power plants, and common effluent treatment plants are now exempted from the basically the environmental assessment. So several projects such as B2 projects, irrigation, production of halogens, chemical fertilizers, acid manufacturing, biomedical waste treatment facilities, building constructions and area development, elevated roads and flyovers are all exempted from public consultation. So as someone was saying before me, I don't know who, I'm extremely sorry.
Yeah,
But
I took that point forward.
yeah, so they have not just reduced the involvement of the public, they have removed the public from, having their say in such B2 projects, which I just pointed out, irrigation, production of halogens, etc. Moreover, undoubtedly, the public outcry is over apprehensions that the exemption from EIA and public consultation for the listed B2 category and modernization will seriously affect the environment. So the public thinks that these projects which I just enumerated, irrigation, fertilizers, acid manufacturing, all these things, these actually have a very big environment adversity, or they have a big impact on the environment. And suddenly now you are telling that the public doesn't have a say in these projects. So the main outcry is over that. And I'm sure you all have seen Rahul Gandhi and the whole Congress criticize the whole EIA Act. So that's the
Yeah.
main point of them as well. That's the main point which is being criticized, and the outcry is over. In addition, someone did say, I'm just repeating, in addition, the notice period for public hearing has been cut from 30 days to 20 days. That's the second major outcry, or the second point. So, in short, the new draft rules might seem to favor the interests of the project proponent. And someone who was asking, like, I'm not sure where the government is going, so the in which direction it is going. So the government is definitely going towards, favoring the
Business,
the the industry
Industrialists.
and the
Totally.
industrialists here. Definitely, they have they are very clear in thinking that the industry has a priority and the environment comes second, where I feel that I partially agree with them, because India is a developing country. You need to care about the environment, but the environment does take a backseat when it comes to development. And let me say an example here. Let me tell you that we still produce a lot of cars, and each family, let's say, owns at least two cars, some family three cars, four cars. So that's a big environmental adversity that we have in India. But you don't go out and say, oh, stop making cars. Or you don't go out and say that, oh, limit families to only two cars, because that
Correct.
will very adversely affect the economy of India. So whatever the BJP government is thinking, or whatever the government in general is thinking about this EIA draft, I agree partially. I don't agree fully, and I don't say fully because obviously you need to have the environment as a priority. But somewhere you do need to consider that India is a developing country, and as a developing country, we do need to produce, let's say, elevated roads and flyovers, which has been taken out of the hands of the public. So we do need to develop those. We do need to develop expressways and highways. Just because we are a developing country, USA or some developed country like USA, Canada, these all can think, oh, we need to protect the environment and all those things, because they've already built their highways and whatnot, chemical fertilizers and whatnot. But in India, we need to also think about the economy as a whole. And somewhere I feel the environment takes a backseat. I'm not saying it's a good thing, I'm just saying that it does. And it's somewhere it will, because India is a developing country. So
but I would
let me just summarize by telling you that, in short, the new draft rules might seem to favor the interest of the project by whirling down the public consultations, accepting flawed, faulty EIA reports, and ignoring the non-renewable nature of the resources. So the whole outcry is over those 2 points: that one, the time has been cut for the public hearing, and two, that public has been made on the sidelines, so to speak, of in many activities. But I don't fully agree with the outcry. Is what my stand is.
see. I would say that the
Nice points.
draft is partially correct, but it is mostly inclined towards the industry. Like, are we talking about the environment? If the government is if the government doesn't care about the environment, they should actually care about the people. But and environment and the people actually go hand in hand. If we just start violating our environment, we will not be able to live properly. As you can talk about the coronavirus impact, it is the like it is because of the like it is because of the people who are actually violating the laws of the environment. They're actually play with these harmful effects that are actually helping us, like that are creating these harmful effects on us also. as you can see that the death rate of this year actually increased by a tremendous amount. Okay, increased by a tremendous amount. And after seeing all these things, and if you talk about India's worst quality is actually the air pollution, and the air pollution mostly constitute the harmful particles or the dust particles that comes to construction, not from the vehicles or also, but from the construction that are actually happening, because these dust particles contain silicons, light particles, and every single thing which you actually breathe. And this is actually really harmful for our situation and for the people that are actually surrounded with them. If you think about the people who are actually working at the construction site, they're actually more closer to these places. And even giving after, like, yeah, I know that like we are at a developing stage and we need to construct all these things, but we are actually not using the proper technology to construct all these things. If we use proper technology, if we use proper methods to control all these things now, that it is then it is a really right way. But giving just like, if right now we are at a not a right position, if we talk about the technical aspect, we don't want to work on those technical things that can actually help us to reach that level. Okay, so I would say that this is not a right time to actually deal with all these situations and go out with this kind of a draft and giving all the permission to the industries so that they can work more openly now. Like if you talk about Rio de Janeiro, like India is actually a signatory on that peace treaty. Okay, that happens in peace, and actually we told that we actually asked the peace treaty that we will be able to convert, like, reduce our carbon emission by 2025. But after seeing all the situation, after seeing this draft coming out at a really at a really harmful time, and this is really a bad stage for person to think about, like really, like coming with this kind of a plan. I would say that government, yeah, actually it's working towards the developing part, but it's not actually working with the environmental part. I would say that the economic prosperity and the environment should go hand in hand in that way.
I would like to add certain more points. One thing is that this draft was, made on, as Akash said, on March 22, and it was passed on August 11 was the last date. Someone can submit any queries to a email ID they have given, and there also one of our environmentalist from my state, Kerala, has posted in his social media that his account has been blocked. So they are actually these, queries they can actually block or disregard anything, or they can say the queries came in favor to this thing. No debate, no hearing, nothing has been conducted in this regard. Another thing that I would like to contradict to what Karthik said is that, yeah, this is a very, frequently discussed topic, environment and development. One has to compromise at times, both to go hand in hand is a very difficult thing. But if you have to build a house, you have to do quarry work. That's obvious. But the point is that whenever we are looking for a development, it should be conservative in nature. Should be conservative development in a way that it does not harm the environment. And if there is no regulatory body or no regulation as such, it is from the evidence of our past, from our experience, it's sure that we are going to exploit it to the maximum. Because the few people or industrialists, all they look for is profit. They don't think on a broader perspective about the humanity, mankind, or anything. It is within the last 200 or 300 years, like we have done a lot of damage by deforestation, etc. So these things are actually the regulatories that are actually blocking such thing and helping to go this environment and development hand in hand. And this draft, we need some compromise for development, but this draft is not like, this draft is giving a full scale license to the one who are like exploiting the environment. One such thing is B2 category is something that a new category, it's been exempted from these things. A recent example is of an oil well has been burning in Assam for days. It comes under that category. Another thing is about this Visakhapatnam, that gas leak. That company did not have an environment clearance certificate. So we have numerous examples like this. And I think this it's a stage. I think we are having a climate emergency. We are, going towards a global warming. And I would like to just give a small comparison. It's like a, a graph, of stress and strain graph. In that first there is an elastic limit. It's proportional. The stress is proportional to strain. Then there is a plastic limit. No, if we completely relax the stress, there will be a permanent deformation. And at last there is a breaking point. And at that point, when you release the stress, it will break down. Problem is, in my view, regarding the environment, we have crossed the elastic limit. We are in the plastic limit. Now, even if we try to overcome, there is a permanent destruction done to the environment. And the problem is that any such problem, the human beings only realize at the breaking point. There is no use to it. We take it for granted unless some environmental catastrophe comes. So this is the point that I have to say. Development and this environment, these things are actually the regulatories that actually confirm that environment is not destroyed. Development can go hand in hand, but this is the one thing I would like to prioritize and give more importance to, because it is something that is going to, affect all of the human race itself. So that's all I have to add now.
And if we are talking about the developing countries, for example, you can talk about the Beirut explosion. Like it is a more developed part of the world, more than India. And most of the places in Lebanon are actually more developed than in most of the part of the India. And you can see about the explosion, what actually happened there, how much amount of expensive amount of fire was there, and how much amount of people, like how many people died there. No, this is the kind of a thing that when happens, we are actually playing with the environmental laws. We are actually playing with the natural laws. And what is the, like, tell me, what is the need of the explosive, like making explosive factories and kind of thing? What is the part of making all these things just to like have a fun of, just to celebrate some kind of a fun? Because these are not the kind of fun that we need. We actually need a kind of fun where actually we have a human touch with each other. We are actually feeling close to each other, and that then a human close touch come when we are actually celebrating with our environment. If we are exploiting our environment, we don't have any place to live. We don't have any place to talk about. Right now, we are actually sitting at our home. We actually, I being a solo traveler and being to travel all these places right now, I'm actually missing all the things, all the fun places about the environment, that how actually we used to live, all the mountains and all these things. And right now we are actually just sitting in our house and thinking about all those places. And being seen these conditions, these kind of laws that are actually more like after the COVID situation, when the person will be going out, when a person will be going out into the environment, into the into a more beautiful stage, there will be nothing to see, that there will be nothing to remember anything, because of these kind of drafts. Because if people are given permission to use such environmental resources, then I don't believe that we have any place to go for. Don't have any place to admire for, and all these laws are really not a good idea.
Guys, first of all, let me counter Abhishek's points, some of which he said. Uh, First of all, you said that you know that development and environmental safety cannot go hand in hand. First of all, I completely agree with that. That is not a debatable topic, and I won't, because I completely agree with that. They cannot go hand in hand. The second point I felt you said that was with the technology, or maybe Akash said it, but the with technology we can actually improve those combinations of development and environment. First of all, let me point out that technology itself is very costly, and that technology itself is not available to us. Maybe it's available to USA or those all those developed countries which are there, USA, Canada, and all those. It's not developed. It's not viable enough for India to employ those technologies. So that's my first point. The second point, which Abhishek said, that we need to save the environment because it provides us with everything, and uh, you know, and as Akash said that we don't have any place to talk about and all that. Let me give you an example. The place where I belong from, Gurgaon, Maruti, it was basically a village. and like with lush trees and all that environment aspect with it. It basically was a village in between a forest or something like that. So what happened was our CM long ago gave Maruti the rights to put a plant, which Maruti readily agreed to because A, it was out of Delhi, and B, the land was cheap basically. So what ended up happening is Maruti put a plant over here. Obviously, deforestation and all that comes with it. But now imagine how much employment is that one Maruti plant giving to the whole of Gurgaon. I can tell you that at least 2,000 workers, have their jobs and go daily to that Maruti plant, and earn their their whole family depends on that livelihood that Maruti is giving them. So to sum up my points would be that development and environmental factors don't go hand in hand, that's for sure. But for a developing country like India, I think the priority is development and not to save the environment. I won't question it whether it's right or wrong, but I'm just stating a fact that for a developing country, that has always been the truth, that development does come before environment. Now, I don't disagree with the upheaval of the EIA draft because obviously saving the environment is necessary. But what I'm only trying to saying is India being a developing country, we need to focus more on development. We need to focus more on giving employment because you obviously I can throw employment rates at you. That won't help. We all know that employment is a big problem in India, but as a developing country, as I said, we need to focus on those factors, and somehow development takes a priority over environment all the time. I'm not saying it's right, but that does happen.
Yeah, that does happen. But if we talk about the major setbacks, like always when we talk about the development, environment is given the major setback. And these setbacks actually reducing the environment piece by piece. And one day, you as you know, like if you talk about the water quality in India or in actually whole of the place, we actually only have 1% of water to drink. Okay, and that 1% of water is also like depleting at such a higher amount. And you also know, like there is a, like if you talk about the facts and if we talk about the figures, like 2025 will not be like having, like if this amount of depletion of water will happen, then 2025 will not be having some kind of a water. You will not be having any kind of a thing to actually drink your life. If you are not have something to sustain your life, then how can actually, if yeah, I'm actually ready to learn about that. Yeah, we do have less employment. We actually, for just living we need employment, but for actually living as a living as a person, we have to have a perfect air quality. We have to have perfect food. We have to have all these things like water. These are the basic amenities. They are the basic needs. And actually, after depleting all the resources from the environment, one day you will not be able to gather all these things. Employment will not be able to give you all these things, and we will be just moving on, like looking over the major setbacks with what we did. Because right now, India, like if we talk about India, India is always at the major side. India is always at the backing side, developing from a really slow part. Developing, if we want to develop, we can actually develop from a really good manner using proper technology, not in a like a depletion manner, using or like using all the places, constructing. And if you talk about Maruti planning, they're actually mostly included. Like if you talk about Maruti plant in Gurgaon, they're actually mostly concentrated over the environmental laws. They're actually working on all those issues so that they can actually provide like whatever deforestation has actually happened because of Maruti plant. They actually grow some of the trees regarding like some, like if one tree is cut there from their side, they actually grow two trees. Like in place of that one tree, na, they actually grow three trees. So these kind of thinking is needed. But developing all these drafts and making toxic chemical companies to come out and actually produce all these industries in an open manner, this is not a nice idea.
Yeah.
You're just
I
actually
also
providing a space to grow more.
Yeah, I would like to say that I would always consider environment as top priority than development. And regarding development, what I have to say is that this draft does not have much to say about development actually, because if there is someone who wants to make a Maruti showroom after clearing a forest area of a lot of hectares, the solution is why can't he choose another area where he does not have to clear a forest, or another area where there is the environment is not actually impacted a lot. I would like to say one example. The house now where I'm staying, actually this area was earlier between for an employer who worked in Gwalior Rayons. It was a factory here near my house, 10 kilometers from here in Maur. And this factory was closed down because it puts its dirty pollutants into a river. Here the biggest river is Chalia. So the problem is that development can happen, but without polluting the environment on a such scale. So there need to be a regulatory to check that development is actually not harming the environment. These chemical factories, etc., when we don't have any regulatory body as such, it can be more harmful to the people, as we have seen in Bhopal gas tragedy or Visakhapatnam. And another thing I want to say is it's more than to an inclusive development. I think it's for the interest of a few people. Like if you say development comes in front of environment, the Brazil president Bolsonaro, he actually set fire to a lot of region in the Amazon forest. Many parts with his consent, or him knowingly has cleared a small section of the forest to uh, for some of the business activities. So Amazon and all is like lungs of the planet. It gives like 8% of the oxygen to the whole world. So here the point is that this development can also happen in a conservative way without harming the environment. And any company which is set up without an environment clearance, I think it is actually going to be a danger to the people residing in nearby areas and the environment itself on a large scale.
As actually, I was
Right.
also working as an intern in some of the like I was also working as an intern for Ultratech Cement in Ravan area in Chhattisgarh. And if you watch that area, this is so remote, and the water scarcity is so much that people are actually running for dirty water to live their life. Actually, Ravan plant, the Ultratech plant is actually providing them water, but it's so in a such large amount, because if you talk about cement production, they need a large amount of water, and and they actually depend upon the rainfall for that. And if you talk about the Chhattisgarh, every single year, the amount of rainfall is decreasing at a tremendous amount. And if you see the people who are actually living around the places now, they are dying at such a large proportion. They don't worry about the employment. They just worry about the proper food they can actually eat. And if you talk about the fertilizers that are actually coming from from these factories, these are making such a bad food. Like, I would not like to eat those food, like if I'm actually in that situation. So how could you actually think about those people to eat those foods? It is a really bad idea.
Sure. Yashasvi has just joined. So Yashasvi, basically we have discussed about EIA, and I think all points were spoken. We were just probably just ending the GD, but if you want to say any points or your thoughts on it, please, you're welcome.
Okay, good evening, everyone. First of all, I'm really sorry. I was traveling, I was going back from Noida to my hometown. So that's why I was not able to join. Other than that, I just have 2 points to support this thing. As I believe all of the speakers have said the same thing, that environment is as important as anything, because without environment, the whole purpose, be it any culture, religion, everything will not exist. So, and especially, I really don't support the government laws which they have, just now implemented or will be implementing in the future. I was seeing a report in which 2006 UPA and 2020 NDA, all the both reports were matched, and I was quite surprised that how governments are using nationalism as a way to exploit environment. I guess most of you also know yesterday itself, day before yesterday, there was a ship, Japanese ship, which split it into two parts in Mauritius. It's the latest news. So they are now appealing, and they are saying to compensate the Japanese company. So all over the world these incidents happen, but no one is blamed or no one is compensated. And I just want to say that environment, it's like we inherited this from our forefathers, and it's our responsibility to pass it to the next generation. Without That's the only difference between this planet and all the other planets. So environment is must. I have not studied that much, like I've not written the notes, so I won't be able to talk that deep this time.
Absolutely no problem. I think all the points were covered anyways with all the speakers. Some have already left. So,
Okay.
should we end the discussion here, guys? Any more points if anyone wants to say anything?
I
Uh,
guess this discussion, I guess, not most of the people will, have a like debate type of a, you know, like
Absolutely.
aura surrounding this topic.
Actually, I was in favor of development over, uh, environment, but I think that's always debatable. All the points have been told. I think we can end the GD right here. So, first of all, thank you all for joining. As usual, thank you for taking the time out. I know not many people are here, but I thank you all for joining. Please stay back for just like 1 or 2 minutes, and then you're free to do anything.